These days, if you're around any level hitting instructor who teaches players how to hit, then I can almost guarantee that you've heard of the term launch angle. Within the last decade, at least, the idea of launch angle in baseball has grown in popularity, and it seems like every player and coach on the planet is talking about it. But is this concept something that should be taught at all levels of baseball? I think that launch angle is a misinterpreted and misunderstood concept, and today I'm clearing up any confusion that you have about this hitting idea. In today's Bullpen Bulletin, I'm answering 5 basic questions about launch angle, so you can decide if this concept is something that you want to include in your game. Hey team, Coach Hart here with Budding Better Baseball, the best place for baseball education. This channel is all about youth baseball improvement for players and coaches. So if you'd like to improve your game, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm here every week with a brand new video to help you level up your game. Also, I have a couple free guides down in the description that I'll be explaining about more in detail at the end of this video. So be sure to stick around if you want to learn more. But for now, let's talk about launch angle. The first question is, what is launch angle? Getting down to the bare bones of what launch angle is, it's simply the trajectory of the ball when it comes off of your bat. When the ball hits the bat and it ricochets back towards the field, there's an angle that's created between the line that the ball is traveling on before contact, the bat, and the ball. That angle is referred to as the launch angle. If you think about it, if that angle is really small, then that means you just hit a ground ball. If that angle is closer to a 90-degree angle, then that means you just hit the ball straight up in the air. If that angle is closer to a 45-degree angle, then that means you probably hit a hard fly ball to the outfield. The reason coaches and players are all about the launch angle is because they're trying to train their swing in a specific way that produces the best launch angle to drive the ball for extra base hits and home runs. The second question is, why is the launch angle idea so popular? Launch angle is all about producing extra base hits and home runs. When you hit the ball with a launch angle of about 25 to 35 degrees, that means that that hit has the highest chance of being a home run, or at least traveling past the outfield for a double or a triple. Coaches and players who are dedicated to this idea of producing the proper launch angle for a maximum distance hit are trying to create a swing path that gives the best chance to achieve this 25 to 35 degree launch angle. But this is where I think that the launch angle concept is misunderstood, and if it's not taught and explained in the correct way, it can be harmful for certain players, especially youth players. Now, I'm not saying that launch angle is bad or shouldn't be taught in baseball. I'm only saying that if it's not fully understood by the teacher and the learner, then it can be misinterpreted by the learner and it could ruin their swing. One thing you have to think about is how the ball travels through the air. You have to think about the way it spins when it comes off the bat. If the ball comes off the bat and it has top spin or forward spin on it, it's going to travel straight into the ground. If it comes off the bat and it has side spin on it, it's going to curve in the direction that it's spinning. If it comes off the bat and it has backspin on it, it's going to travel straight and far. That's how home runs and extra base hits are hit, by producing a swing that creates backspin on the ball. That's where the focus should be when teaching launch angle, not on the swing itself, but the contact point. The middle of the barrel should be contacting just below the midline of the ball, so backspin is created. This is launch angle. The third question is, who is launch angle best for? Launch angle is best for advanced players who are already great hitters. Now, I'm not talking about age-wise, I'm talking about development-wise. They can be any age, but they have to be advanced enough in their hitting knowledge and skill to understand the concept of launch angle. They have to understand that it's not an uppercut swing that creates a great launch angle. It's the contact point and creating backspin on the ball. Most of the time, this will be advanced high school players, college players, and professional players who will be able to understand how launch angle works. If you have a really great youth hitter who's in middle school and they just seem to really know how to hit, then they could probably comprehend how to change their swing to achieve a better launch angle. But I wouldn't try it for anyone below 7th or 8th grade. These younger players, as I'm going to cover in my next point, they just don't have the hitting IQ to be successful with this concept. The fourth question is, why is it not good for most youth players? When we talk about youth baseball players, we're talking about players who are just learning how to hit. They're learning how to grip the bat, where to set up with their hands, how to swing the bat through the strike zone for a good bat path, and all the basics that come with hitting a baseball. They're in the beginning stages of their baseball hitting development, and they're taking it one step at a time. These young players have absolutely no idea where to even start with understanding the concept of launch angle. They're just trying to make contact with the ball. Young players are at the crawling stage of their hitting development and they're trying to learn how to walk. If they're learning about launch angle, that's like trying to sprint when they can only crawl, and it will only hurt their swing. Almost all young players will interpret launch angle as taking an uppercut swing to try and get the ball in the air, and that's the absolute worst thing a player can practice. The fifth question is, what's a better alternative? For youth players, we first have to get them to have a repeatable swing with a swing path that makes contact with the ball consistently. They have to learn how to get their barrel to the strike zone as quickly as possible on the same plane as the ball in order to square it up and have a contact point that has the middle of the barrel meeting the middle of the ball. That's where we start. We don't care about where the ball goes right now. All we want is consistent contact, because if there's no contact, then nothing else matters. Once we get a swing that produces consistent contact, we can then move on to more advanced concepts, like refining the load to get more power, pitch selection to swing at pitches that they can drive, and eventually, launch angle. It will take years of practice before a young player can fully understand the concept of launch angle. And if they're taught before they're ready, they run the risk of ruining their swing forever. So what do you think? I'd like to hear your thoughts about launch angle in youth baseball. Do you agree with anything I said, or do you have your own opinion? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Before we go, make sure you grab your free guide in the description below. I have a free baseball equipment sizing guide that explains all the equipment that we use in baseball, and more importantly, how to find your perfect size. There's also a free 2-hour practice plan for coaches with 2 practice blueprints if you need some help organizing your practices for more efficiency. Grab yours down below. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope this video answered all your questions about launch angle and you have all the information you need to decide if you want to include it in your game or not. I'll catch you next week for another edition of the Bullpen Bulletin.